What is up, everyone? It is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. And so today is a very exciting video because I am going to be talking all about tips on how to take online exams and tips to combat test anxiety. So if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Rachel. I just graduated from UC Berkeley in May of 2020, where I double majored in cognitive science and legal studies, and now I'm working full-time at a law firm. And so if you are a student applying to colleges this year, you should definitely check out Study Hall College Consulting. It's a team of myself and other UC Berkeley students where we specialize in reviewing college application essays and conducting one-on-one consulting calls with students or parents who may have questions. So you should definitely check out all of our social medias as well as our website. So without further ado, let's get on to my tips to take online exams. So to preface, half of my last semester at UC Berkeley was online, so I have experience taking online midterms and finals through being a senior in college. I also took the LSAT Flex, which is the online version of the LSAT, where you take the LSAT in your own house on your laptop versus going to a testing center in order to take the LSAT. So I do have experience taking those high stakes exams from taking the LSAT and taking online college exams. So that is where my advice is coming from. So my first tip would be to study for your tests in the same setting, the same location as you would for the real thing. Psychology has proven that if you are studying in the same area, same location, same environment as you take the real test, doing so will actually help you during test day because you will be in that same environment, and it will actually help trigger like answers in your brain when you're answering questions that you see on your exam. So this is an easy thing to do if you're planning on taking your test in your dorm room or wherever you study in your house. Then do your practice tests, do your lectures, do your studying in that exact same location. Don't be studying for your exam at your kitchen table, but then for test day you take the exam like in your bedroom or something like that. But if you're doing it all in your bedroom, make sure you stick to that and study in that area so that during test day that area and environment can help trigger answers for you. My second thing would be to practice for the test as it would actually happen on test day. So this means if your test is like 1 hour long and you're doing practice questions, make sure you only give yourself 1 hour in order to do all of your practice tests. So like for me with the LSAT, they are 35-minute sections in order to answer like 25 questions. So I would not be answering 25 questions in like 45 minutes or give myself 1 hour to answer those 25 questions, because that is not how the test is going to happen on test day. But you want to simulate the test as closely as you can as possible while you're studying. So similar to the timing of the test, if your test gives you only 5 pieces of scratch paper, only practice your exam with 5 pieces of scratch paper. If you're not allowed to use pens, don't practice taking your test with a pen, but stick to pencils so you're used to it. And so if you are like giving yourself extra time or giving yourself more pieces of paper or something like that, that is just hurting yourself, because when test day comes, you won't be used to the exam, you'd be used to taking the exam with longer testing times, and so you're just hurting yourself. So my next tip would be to practice breathing techniques. And you might be thinking like, yo, I don't need that, that sounds so dumb. But actually, I had never really done any breathing techniques or anything like that before taking the LSAT. So before the LSAT Flex, I would actually do yoga every single morning and just practice like deep breathing techniques. You could practice meditation, yoga, mindfulness. Just I feel like learning how to breathe and learning how to control your like heartbeat or like your nervousness is super helpful. For me, during the LSAT Flex, when I felt myself getting nervous, I would just deep breathe and be like, Rachel, you cannot be nervous. You cannot like get in the wrong mindset that it screws up the rest of your test. There's still an hour left of this exam. You can't be so nervous that it debilitates you for the rest of the test. So I found that learning breathing techniques really helped calm me during the test and really helped me focus. And even if I didn't know how to answer a question or something like that, I would just breathe and be like, Rachel, it's okay, move on. You can't get stuck on one question when there there are 74 more questions that I have left to answer. So finding what works for you, whether it is mindfulness, yoga, maybe you do journaling or something that helps to calm you, but just I feel like getting in tune with your body is a great way, especially during these timed online exams. Another thing that you should do is to test out your equipment beforehand. And so this is something that you don't want to mess up on either, because this is something that is completely in your control. And so if you are using like a laptop or a computer for your test day, or maybe you need to use ProctorU, which is like an outside testing software, test those out beforehand, you know? Don't leave it up to chance the morning of your exam. But for me, I tested it like 2 weeks before my test, and then I tested it again a few days before my test to make sure, you know, my laptop works, my laptop has all of the software that it needs, because for the LSAT Flex, they need to have access to your microphone and camera and mouse. And so if some of those things aren't working and it's the morning of your test, then you're going to be super stressed out. But if you tested it a few days beforehand, you know that everything works. That will just help ease your nerves, and then you can go into test day confident that your computer software and everything works. So my next thing is to have all of your materials, desk, room, setup all prepared the night before. So if you needed to get your scratch paper, your pencil sharpened, your pens ready, eraser, everything like that, get that prepared, have it on your desk the night before, so the morning of your exam you aren't totally stressed out looking for those things. Oh, turns out you don't have any number 2 pencils and like you have to go and buy some or something like that. Just have it all prepared the night before so you're ready the day of. Similar to testing your computer, have your desk ready, have your room ready. If you do need to do like a room scan to show that you aren't cheating and you don't have any not allowed materials in the room, remove those materials. Like if you have a TV, cover it, stuff like that. So cleaning your room and doing that all the night before is very helpful, so that the day of you aren't like moving your TV out of the room or realizing that you have things that are not allowed in your testing room. And so you never know when something might come up the test day of, so controlling all of these variables is super important. So my next tip is to practice exams where someone watches you, especially if your online tests are being proctored where someone like a teacher, professor, graduate student, someone is staring at you your entire test. This is new for a lot of students. You might not be used to like seeing your webcam light on, knowing that someone is staring at you the entire test time. That can be very nerve-wracking. So a way to practice this is to ask a family member, friend, get on Zoom, Google Hangouts, FaceTime, and just have them sit there and maybe like watch you sometimes. They can be doing other things, but to have that presence of like, oh, my webcam light is on, someone could be watching me, they might not be watching me. This is super nerve-wracking, but if you can do practice problems, take a practice exam where someone is watching you the entire time, that will help ease your nerves on test day, because then test day will feel just like another practice test day, but it's actually the real thing where someone is watching you. And so my last tip is to ask your family, friends, roommates to leave the room or leave your apartment or house during your test. Or, you know, if they can't leave the room or house, make sure that they at least know that you have an important test happening so that maybe they can be quiet during that time, because it would just totally suck if they didn't even know that you had an important test happening and then they were all being loud. But just remind them like, hey, I have a big test tomorrow, can you be quiet from this hour to this hour, so they at least are aware and they can try to be quiet that day. So those are all of my tips on how to take online tests and to help combat test anxiety. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Definitely let me know if you want to see more videos like this. As always, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time.